we ended up in Brighton, in fact, and it was about a week before Christmas, and it was bitterly. I remember it clearly. It was so bitterly cold, and we went down the steps to the where all the alcoves are on the seafront, and we went into this dark alcove, chucked some coats and things on the floor, of this concrete floor, slept there overnight, and my gosh, I don't know how I got through the night. I was only 8 years old, but we were all cold and bitterly cold. I'll never forget it. The next morning, when we came up, we met a policeman on a bicycle who was coming along. It was very, very early in the morning, just about getting light. And he stopped my mother. I think they had a talk about where we were, what we were doing there and things like that. And he gave her £50. And with that, I think we must have got a train. He told her where to go, and we got a train to East Preston, I think we must have done. It's a bit shady then, but we ended up in the East Preston, what was then the East Preston Workhouse. The first night when we slept there, we got literally eaten alive by fleas coming out from the coconut floor. The next morning we'd spend loads of time every morning killing the fleas before we could get back to sleep again. So it was pretty tough. And when he fell out and got the sack from the governor, it took us about 6 months or something, or 4 months or something like that, of him being out of work, and consequently we were skint. In those days you couldn't get too much money, I think, when you're not working. And this is something that people ought to know what it was like in the days. He used to say, well, I'm dying for a cigarette. Can you boys go out and pick me some doggins up from the road? True. God's honest truth. He used to send us out to go along the roads with a tin picking up doggins for him because he was dying for a smoke or tobacco.
Oh. So what was your next move then?
Well, it took us a long time. Once again, he was out of work for another 6 months, and because it was right on the main road.
And did he get benefit money?
I don't know, he must have done, but he was still jolly hard up though, because we were carting the furniture from the front room and the beds and whatever we had out to the road. It was a main road outside the house, although there wasn't the factories now, and we'd pile it up out there and put a full sale notice on it, and people would come along and sit and buy it, bits and pieces. There was no electricity. We had candles, no hot water. Everything had to be on the black Rayburn, cooking away in kettles and pots and things like this, and bubbling away. But it was nevertheless exceedingly homely. To have a bath, we always kept hanging outside out on a nail outside the place, a long galvanised bath which was about that deep. And my brothers and I, once a week we had a bath in that, and it would take half a dozen or so pots to fill it up about 2 or 3 inches, and you had to race to get the first one, otherwise the water was cold. It was good. Yeah, but yeah, it was great fun, and we all troop off upstairs, shielding our candle as we go, like from the draft, and go to bed like that, That was when I first heard the nightingale. Never heard a nightingale till then. We used to have the windows open, and at night in the springtime, and it was just incredibly beautiful to listen to. The dawn chorus. You want to know what the dawn chorus was in them days? It's
much more than it is now, I expect.
There's no dawn chorus now compared to that. Just no dawn chorus now. Yeah, worms everywhere. We believe me, Chris, we are killing this world very, very quickly by our own selfish way of life. And people naively, I was going back to predators. I love our predators. I love our hawks and things. But you have to be real. These gamekeepers weren't stupid people. They were people that had been in the world, in the countryside, for years, their fathers and their father. They knew how the preservation of our countryside was. Pesticides, they've just about killed everything they can possibly kill out there. A lot of the stuff that these songbirds eat, they've killed all of that from ever since the 1950s. They've really just about done everything they can with the pests. They've pulled down for harvesting the beautiful hedges, whereas smaller fields, even in my days the fields were smaller, whereas now they've ripped all them out. You know, they've torn them so that now you can get several hundreds, if not thousands of acres without any hedgerows at all. Now you must have hedgerows for birds to survive. And if you're killing the food by pesticides and all that, so it's not just one fingering one reason why there's nothing nowadays. It's a multitude of reasons, and if you clap them all together, you end up with nothing.